Hey folks, and welcome to the Truck King YouTube channel and lovely Palm Springs, California. Today we are down here to check out some new Chevrolet Silverados, and in this video we're looking at this truck. That's the 2022 Silverado High Country. Now this is Chevy's top trim luxury truck, and for 2022 it looks different on the outside and the inside, and I want to tell you all about it. 2022, GM has updated its half-ton trucks, but this is not a full redesign. It's definitely still a familiar look, and the powertrains are all going to be familiar as well. In this case, it's the 6.2-liter V8 hooked to a 10-speed automatic. You will notice, though, there's been some massaging of the style. We get this big kind of eyebrow up here now across the grille. Because this is a high country, we get the monochromatic black look with all of the chrome accents. We also get this nice two-tone grille up here in the front, plus a huge set of 22-inch wheels. So from the exterior, it's not a massive change. It's just been massaged slightly, and I do think it looks pretty good. Of course now, please go in the comments and let me know what you think of this new look. And I'm gonna go inside the truck now because that's truly where it has changed. Like I said, from the outside, it's just a small massage. The interior though, this is a major change for 2022. We no longer have the little 8-inch touchscreen. Now we have a 14-inch touchscreen over here in the center stack, plus right in front of me, a 12-inch digital gauge cluster. So yes, GM has gone kind of the full digital route to keep up with the times. And everything else in here has just been changed up to make it look more premium. I think the biggest complaint with the last High Country was way too much hard black plastic, and GM has totally gone away from that. The dash is nice soft touch leather. The door panels, all over the door panel, is nice soft touch. Plus, this is the first Silverado with real open pore wood. Again, something that has kind of come into the industry, which Chevy was lagging on. They used to have this fake wood and it looked really fake. Now they have real wood. It looks beautiful. So yes, they spent a lot of time on the interior of this High Country, and it definitely shows. Now here we are driving in this new High Country, and normally I'd start out by talking to you about how the truck actually drives, and then I would ask Dad how it drives, but the honest truth is that Chevy didn't update the way the truck drives. It still drives the same. It's the same chassis, same engine, same transmission, all that stuff. So we'll get to that, but we have to start with the interior, right, Dad? I mean, Chevy went out of their way to make a statement here to say our interior was not up to snuff. Now here's our new one. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think the big word for me is competitive. I don't get in here anymore and go, ugh, what the heck were they thinking? You get in and go, yeah, that's a really nice half-ton truck. That's my general takeaway. What do you think?
First of all, kudos to GM for listening to their customers and people like Steve and I, because we were loud and we complained a lot.
True.
After 2019. And we said, you're selling a premium product with a subpar interior. They took that to heart. They went back to the drawing board. What they've turned out now is definitely better. And to that extent, two quick things. One, it's competitive with everything else out there. However, it wasn't the over-the-top slam dunk that you might have thought they'd have come up with. So, if anything, it's refined. And, you know, if I'm going to pay this kind of money for a High Country, I do want to feel like I'm in a luxury pickup truck, and that is now how I feel.
For sure. Yeah, like the wood is gorgeous. It's actually nice to touch. That was one of the big kind of sins of the last truck, because a lot of the materials weren't nice to touch. They were bad plastics and stuff, or that fake wood. Another thing I noticed, which I like, Dad, is you have the digital gauge cluster over there. Like most gauge clusters these days, it's fully customizable. You can change the information it delivers you.
Well, that's true about the main screen as well.
Yeah.
And we're really moving towards that, where guys can get in and say, no, I really want to see these things. You know, it reminds me, we were talking about this when we got in the truck, where I was joking that I wouldn't get to see what the heated seats felt like today because it's currently 94 degrees Fahrenheit here. But you know, like, you can put that particular app up on the screen you know, if you're in Minnesota, or you can bury it because you live in Florida.
Well, actually, and I can show you a shot of our screen. They actually have the trailering app up there as one of your, you know, quick buttons. So sure, if you're pulling a trailer all the time and you're constantly going to that trailering app, well, you make it really easily accessible. So that is nice. And then sort of on the flip side of that, though, that is real buttons. They didn't get rid of the buttons and knobs for the HVAC. They didn't get rid of this nice kind of row of plastic buttons or plastic toggle switches that they introduced. So yeah, again, a nice mix and a volume knob. They did not forget to leave the volume knob there.
No, they've paid attention, because let's face it, a lot of the manufacturers that have gone to all touchscreen, there's been a lot of pushback.
Yeah.
Even the younger kids don't like all just push stuff. You know, the knob is still where it's at when it comes to being able to turn your volume or set your heat without having to look at it.
Yep. So a few other small details I've noticed. The first one are actually the floor mats. They actually made the floor mats match the contrast stitching in the seats, which I've never seen before. So that's interesting. Plus they have this little metal corner on them with the Chevy logo. That looks really nice too. Second thing, wireless phone charging, not new, but I love where it is in this truck, kind of tucked down here underneath your center consoles. Just enough so you can see your phone, but it also really tucks out of the way quite nicely, and I do appreciate that.
And of course we've got a traditional sort of pistol grip shifter, which Chevy frankly had gone away from, but I got a feeling that they were concerned because the other guys all still had it, so here it is again.
Yeah, and in fact, I mean, Ram just reintroduced that. Like you said, Ford's had it forever. Yeah, I always liked the fact that GM was really kind of bullish on keeping the column shifter, right? And I thought maybe they'd just keep it forever. They'd be the one brand to stick with it, but...
Well, you're still going to have that in the HDs. I don't think they're going away in the HDs.
Yeah. So you've seen the way the truck looks outside, you've seen all the new stuff inside, so now inevitably I do have to ask you, Dad, how is it driving out here on the interstate? What are you feeling?
These trucks are wonderful. I mean, the suspension in them, anything in the 1500 series, this thing eats up the bumps. It's quiet. It holds its lane. You know, I could do 1,000 miles without breaking a sweat. It's a nice truck, man.
Yeah, and I mean, back in 19 when it launched, we drove it then and said, yeah, it drives nice and the powertrains are great, big V8s, just the interior. So again, they've really addressed the one thing they felt they needed to, and I guess we'll have to wait and see if it reflects in more sales.
Yeah, we'll have to see how people accept it, but my sense of it is that they did now what they should have done then, but hey, better late than never.
Yep.
Okay, it's happy.
It went green light right away too, huh?
Yeah, it did. Green light right away.
Nice. All right, well now we're super cruising. And of course, this isn't anything new. This has already been around for, I think, 2 model years now. But this is new to Dad. Dad's never super cruised before.
This is my first super cruise.
I did it once in an Escalade. So I guess the question is, how are you feeling about it?
Bizarre.
Yeah, it's definitely a little weird. Takes some getting used to. And the craziest thing I want to see, here it comes, auto lane change.
It's going to change lanes, which frightens the hell out of me because there goes a motorcycle.
Yeah, that motorcycle.
And we're coming up behind a Toyota, which is really kind of dragging its butt.
See if it'll do it again.
It did it. It made the lane change.
The auto lane change will actually detect when you are approaching a vehicle in front of you.
It's going to do it again.
And you have your speed set higher, and it moves you left to get out and around that vehicle. That's really cool.
I just wonder if it's also watching what's behind me.
It has to be.
As to how quickly the guy's closing in the lane.
No, of course it is. So whether it would have seen that motorcycle come up so quick, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's looking all around.
So far, so good.
The other crazy thing it's doing is it's watching your eyes. So if you take your eyes off the road for too long, it will shut off.
Yeah.
Even with your sunglasses.
Even with my sunglasses.
Which is pretty cool.
I want to see if it gets out of this lane now. See, now me, I'd already get out of this lane.
Sure.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be in. I don't want to be in the left lane any longer than I have to.
About to get passed on the right. However, the other thing you need to know is if you hit the signal to the right, the truck will then automatically change lanes when it is safe to do so.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, because that's what I would want it to do right now.
So, like after this Honda Pilot,
yes,
you can try it. If you throw the right signal on, it should pull in for you.
So we will do that. The only thing, it's sensing the truck ahead of us, So now it's slowing down, and the hole is closing.
Yeah.
And the guy behind me is getting mad and giving us the finger.
Well, yeah, this is normal that quote-unquote regular drivers get angry, but this also happens with adaptive cruise control because the vehicle keeps that distance, and the other people on the road don't realize that you're matching the speed to the vehicle in front of you.
Yeah.
And people are very impatient, so they just run ahead and close the gap,
Okay.
and then you end up backing up.
All right, so I have put the signal on, and it has changed lanes when it was safe to do so.
Cool.
All right, so
Well, I don't know. It's certainly not a bad system, but I think we've already just identified it's still not a human driver at the end of the day, and I think that's where some of the leeriness still comes from.
it doesn't react as quickly as I would.
Sure.
It's not looking at things like that motorcycle,
Yeah.
which was sort of on the line almost, so it might have seen it as being the lane was open, but that bike was like a foot into the lane and wailing by us. And then the other thing I'm always looking at, most people are, is if you're going to change lanes, the guy who's coming up on that lane, how quickly is he closing? So, anyway, I mean,
On the flip side, as coming from a guy who just drove across the country, do you feel like you would use this if you were going long distance?
here's the thing: in busy traffic like this here, no.
Fair.
But I also drove hundreds of miles on relatively empty, two-lane, sort of divided highway where it would be perfect just to remove the stress.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you're still paying attention. You're still monitoring what the truck is doing. You're just not making all those decisions. So like you said, it's a little less stressful.
Yeah. Well, no, I certainly get it.
Well, folks, we have arrived at the end of this one. Now, for 2022, it is obvious. Chevy wanted to make sure that its luxury truck could compete with the other luxury trucks on the market in terms of how nice the interior is, and I think they absolutely nailed it. Of course, now though, we want to hear what you think, so go in the comments, let us know what you think of this new Silverado High Country. As always, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member, and then come right back here to Truck King to see what we're testing next. See ya.